some drama, then they love you. But otherwise, that will not be long. Look at what Nyerere did. Even the world condemned him when he was doing land reforms, when he was trying to unite the country. People said, this is wrong. And even when he was leaving power, he acknowledged that there are areas I failed in the economy, but I united the country. And this was a system that ran for almost 30 years. If Nyerere was doing Amin style, Amin was doing what Magufuli is doing, was exactly what Amin was doing. He goes there, the Asians, don't blacken yourself with whatever, get out of the country. Africans, get it. That's exactly what Magufuli, same. That is wrong for modern times. Our president is a president of a democratic state, very organized with a very elaborate constitution. There are places he has to go, my brother. The president of China is such a big guy, just like the president of America. You see, when Obama comes here, everything sounds. So when the Pope comes in, there are things he has to do physically. Let us not look back and say, because President Kibaki was unwell and old. Remember, the same age made President Uhuru's father. He was never traveled.
Okay.
So let's not mix the two.
No, you wanted to respond to that?
Yeah, I wanted to give him practical steps that President Magufuli has taken in Tanzania in the fight against corruption that has created so much change in 30 days that we haven't seen since the president's own State of the Nation address to Parliament when he initiated his own fight against corruption. For example, President Magufuli has now made it a requirement for all public servants, specifically those working in the Tanzania Revenue Authority, to declare and make public and publish the assets so that the state can establish whether these assets were legally acquired. On the contrary, here we have the president's own deputy giving over 50 million Kenya shillings.
17.
70?
17.
No, it's 50. We've done the math. Over 50 million Kenya shillings monthly. His salary is known. His businesses are known. Where is this money coming from? And when you ask him, he tells you, I am generous. That is not the kind of response you expect from a public servant. It means they do not understand what public service is about. It's not about your generosity. It's about your transparency and accountability. And these are principles that seem to be alien to the Jubilee administration, which is why we find ourselves in crises such as what we're finding ourselves in with the Eurobond. They just are averse to answers, transparency and accountability.
Okay, we'll come to the Eurobond in just a short while, but Ambrose, of course, the deputy presidents, Harambe's, have raised questions. And one would, if you just did simple math, you might wonder, where is all this money coming from? And like Noah mentions, the issue is sometimes not even the money, but the transparency, the fact that we can tell that actually this money is coming from A, B, C, D.
You know, just to clarify, in Kenya we have the rule of law. In Tanzania now you have the rule of Magufuli. Here I've told you the president will not just wake up one morning, order people, we want you to strip naked in the street, do this, I've ordered this. Will tell me, Your Excellency, Article this of the Constitution says this. And if you insist, there are many things the president has done. He tried to do the Magufuli way, and the court said you can't do that. So, leave. Tanzania is still coming up democratical and matters of the rule of law. Let's not bring in Amin style into Kenya. It will not work. We have gone beyond. But the deputy president, his generosity is not sudden. It has not just arisen. His generosity is known since he was MP for Eldoret North. That is a fact. Secondly, the deputy president is not a poor man. He's not a poor man, average, depending on a salary. This also is a fact. The only mistake he seems to have done is he's generous about it. He goes around, we go ask Bwana Deputy President, we have this church here, and being a born-again man, we have a church here, he brings in. And then second, thirdly, he has friends. Friends like where they are here. If you are going to do a rambe somewhere, let me tell you what normally happens. Sometimes the big people don't solicit, including Honorable Raila Odinga. We go where he was supposed to come, or even where he doesn't come. Then I say, my money. I say, Ambrose Weda, I've come with 500,000. 300,000 was from a big friend of yours, Honorable Raila Odinga, and then my contribution, 200,000. You get it? So then it gives me a name among the people. that I talk to the likes of Raila and they give me donations. That's what happens. That's why you'll hear so-and-so was given money there, so-and-so was given. And it is even better when it's a deputy president. I say the deputy president sent. He cannot, we know he cannot come out. He may not even know. He cannot even come up to deny that I didn't send weather with that money. It is the way we do certain. Thirdly, when the vice president has a function, it is announced. As it is announced, he has many friends. Many. Some of them you don't ask. They just say, Your Excellency, we've seen you Harambe here in Kisumu. We had you 500,000. So let's not cheapen generosity because the people in court are stingy. Honorable Raila is stingy. Mheshimiwa Kalonzo is even more stingy.
We don't steal Eurobond money, so we can't.
So
we
the stinginess, they justify. They are killing other people's generosity, weighed together with their stinginess. They say, I'm so stingy. I can tell you, Honorable Raila doesn't give to Harambes over the years, even when, and he's one of the richest men in East and Central Africa, if it's not Africa. Generosity is inborn. It comes from in you. Mo is a generous president. We knew it. President Kibaki was not generous. So we compare these people. We didn't say Mo was stealing.
The mistake that Wakili is making here is that he's trying to measure personality instead of performance. When you're elected to public office, it's no longer about your personal traits. Yes. It's about what you do with the institution, this office that you occupy. And a politician and leader of the stature of His Excellency, the Deputy President, should find it incumbent upon himself to observe certain rules and decorum when occupying that office. Even though some of these friends, such as the wealthy Weda here, ever since he got his board appointment, may contribute towards his Harambes, he should make it a priority to declare that this money is coming from this place. Because Kenyans are wondering, 50 million shillings a month, this is not child's play. This is a lot of money. This could possibly well be public money. And these are the answers, these are the questions to which Kenyans need answers. So it's not about generosity or stinginess. It's not even personal. It's just we are wondering, as Kenyans, as taxpayers, where is this money coming from? And what is so difficult with declaring the source of this money, unless there is something that you're hiding?
Ambrose, is there something difficult about declaring the source of the money, especially given you are a public servant?
First of all,
the deputy president is a public servant.
Get this thing, number one, that the Kenyans are wondering which ones, and I'm here telling you, he's been invited by the Kenyans.
No, but he also represents a good number of Kenyans who cannot put food on their table. And here a figure
the poor
of 50 million a month. Who earns 50 million?
First of all, it is not 50 million. The last time I saw the rumors that was peddling in the newspapers, it was 17 million, which ordinarily is very small money.
Maybe for you.
Please listen. for very small money for people who are friends. I've told you the way some of these monies are donated. And then there's no field where it is said, before you give anybody money, you come and announce here.
No, but
the deputy president, first and foremost, earns money. Secondly, he is astute businessman. Thirdly, he has a wide, inexhaustible reservoir of friends. Fourthly, he is exceedingly generous. Just diametrically opposed to the Raila is exceedingly stingy, but the deputy president is exceedingly generous. In fact, the deputy president is more generous than the president himself. And that's why they are worried. And then it's getting, it's becoming more.
It's still not
averse
clear.
To answering questions.
It's still not clear why it is difficult for him to declare for the benefit of those who are wondering. Even if it is no Akala as one individual, he is a Kenyan who is wondering. So as a result, he is, as a public servant, required to say, look, this is where the money comes from, and I am being generous because of ABCD.
So is it supposed to advertise?
Not advertise, but for 50 million that...
It is 17. The last time we saw
whatever amount.
50. It is 17 is given 500 there, 300. And I know part of that 17 million that they are talking about. Now, let me tell you in the spirit of disclosure. Part of it, the president and the deputy president are very great friends. You get it? part of the thing that when you go to your friends, I'm going to this function, part of the people who contribute this money is none other than the president. He goes, my friend, I'm going to Kisumu. The other day, the president was in Kisumu for ACK Anglican Church to contribute. He also went to the people and said, my brother, make a kitu hapa kidogo. That is, you know, stingy people don't see, but those who are generous know. And so does he come and say, oh, this $500,000,
but
the president gave me 500, 200?
The issue is not necessarily the amount.
Yes.
But the fact that as a public servant, then you are required. Yes. He talked about a certain decorum, a certain expectation by the public. Those who have put you in office have put you there to be responsible. So but just by virtue of the fact that you're a public servant, then you require, even if it was 1 million, it would be good to know that this 1 million has come from Weda, has come from Noah, has come from Jack.
Let me be clear on this. There is no such decorum. That is a decorum being coined by the people who feel that the deputy president is becoming more and more prominent, is becoming more and more known, more and more good. There's no such decorum that every time you are going to give anybody money, you say, this one, I earned through this, through that, through that. That decorum is being coined by yourselves. So please stop it.
Okay. Let me just give him one parallel. I was in Korea about a month ago, and I was educated about the founding president, Park Ji-hoon, who instilled such a culture of transparency and accountability in the country that one of his successors actually committed suicide after leaving office because of an allegation, it was not even proven, an allegation that not he, but his wife received a gift that was not declared to the public. You see, that's the kind of high moral standard that has moved Korea from being at par with Kenya in the 1970s to being an economy that is 30 times bigger at the present day. If we continue with this culture of shrouding things in darkness and hiding and secrecy around our institutions in the manner in which Weda is proposing, we'll continue to have more Eurobonds, more hustlers jets, more current land scandals. They'll continue to pile on and on and on, and we will never see an end to them.
Okay,
and just also to conclude, one last thing. President Magufuli, he rejected any form of financial donations to him as an individual during the Tanzanian campaign. If anyone came with any resource, even 1 shilling, he directed them to the party. And the reason for this was so that once he becomes president, no businessman, no spheres of influence can claim to own the presidency or that the presidency owes them something. So one tends to wonder, all these friends, all these friends who are giving 500,000, 1 million, what do they expect in return?
Ambrose Weda, let's now move on to the Eurobond.
Before we go into the Eurobond, let's get this theory of people committing suicide. That's a sign of sickness, a disease. When you contemplate suicide, it's a sign of sickness. Please don't let our children hear you glorifying such conduct as somebody has been told he feels innocent. So what does he do? He commits suicide. That's not the Kenyan way. That's not African. God hates those who take their own lives. We will not cope with that, and I hope the children of this country have heard that. Secondly, I have told you this Magufuli thing. Magufuli himself, to be fair and to be honest, was rigged into office. He was defeated. Let's be fair.
And how do you know
Takes
that?
one to know one.
How do you know that?
How do you know that? Part of the country has not voted. Their votes have not even been counted.
Okay, Zanzibar, all right.
Not even Zanzibar. Even part of mainland. They realized this was a position, and then they were using state resources.
Let me bring in a member from the public, and we have Priscilla from Mombasa. Good morning, Priscilla. Thank you for calling. What's your contribution to the debate, Priscilla?
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning to you.
I'd like to contribute because one thing I think you guys are not being fair is doing the comparison.
Is what?
Comparing a person with another person.
Okay.
And this is comparing the president Uhuru with Magufuli. Because every individual is different the way he or she performs. I think the best thing could have been these trips he is going to abroad. Are they benefiting us, the Kenyans who voted for him? Because the moment you start comparing an individual with another individual, you have no solution because everybody is different. He does his things unique. So the best thing would have been these tips. Are they beneficial to the Kenyans? Where is the money coming from? Is he misusing the Kenyans' the taxpayers' money? Because if today you are compared with another journalist, how would you feel?
Okay, thank you, Priscilla.
Yeah.
I'll answer to that. Okay, we'll also have Pascal from Roy. Good morning, Pascal. From Voice, sorry. Pascal, good morning. Pascal.
Misusing public money in a good way. That is only what I had to say.
Sorry, could you repeat that, Pascal, please?
I was saying, actually, the deputy president can easily clear his name by giving names to the friends who have issued money for him to go and give to Harambee.
Okay.
For example, if Weta gave him 500,000, the president gave him 1 million, Pascal gave him 200,000, you just easily clear his name by giving the name.
Declaring, okay.
Yes.
All right, thank you, Pascal.
Yep.
Okay, thank you very much. And well, to first of all, thank you, Pascal. We've got the point. And going to what Priscilla had said, that comparing is not fair. But Priscilla, also to mention, we're not comparing the personalities, but we're asking, can we learn something from our East African brother, John Pombe Magufuli? Is there a lesson that we can draw out of there? But also coming back to Pascal, and he's saying that it would be very easy for the deputy president to just clear his name by declaring this is where the money came from.
Yes, let me start with this comparison. That is, do you know that in Uganda, in Tanzania, once the IBC of Tanzania declares the results, that's final. You have no recourse to court. That shows you where they are. Whether there's rigging, where there was final. Here in Kenya, presidential, Supreme Court. These are the ones, the High Court. Then you want to compare the two systems. Then you say we copy that one. Now, I know that some of these Harambees, when you are there, and these people have not said, when the deputy president is contributing money, even not only the deputy, even when I'm in Harambee, and I'm giving 500,000 shillings, 1 million, I'll say Gitonga, 50,000, so and so, 50,000, so and so, 100. Usually the guest, it's just a small portion of it. You are being called as a guest, not because you are rich, but your ability to reach people, to raise funds. Okay. So if you are in those functions, normally the deputy president, I have been in some of the way he says, this one was a contribution from His Excellency the President, this one came from so-and-so, this one, and then myself and my family, this much. But what comes out is that the president gave us 1 million shillings. All right. Now that's what the opposition is picking, because now they say no Harambee, nil from the pocket. Just everything by mouth.
Okay, let's move on to the Eurobond. And I'm just wondering here on behalf of others, might this be the same problem that we have? The fact that the deputy president does not find it necessary to declare where the wealth is coming from. Yes. Then when a question is raised regarding Eurobond, then it's misty as to how that money has been spent.
No, the money that the deputy president is giving is very little. Even if you had 100 million and you put it in a fixed deposit account, the interest is enough for you to go Harambee every month. The Eurobond is a big thing. And I'm telling Rotich and the rest, even me, there's a lot of debris again. If I was the president, the last time he was doing the cabinet reshuffle. If I was the president, I would have given Rotich something else. He's running the economy in a wobbly, opaque manner. And this Eurobond thing, I'm not getting the answers very clearly. Where is the money? Or where are the answers? But it's big money. If you took it, if you took even 1% of it, Gitonga, you don't have to do basic Harambee. You need to look for a jet and so on. So let's not equate the little money that the deputy president is giving around out of his generosity to the Eurobond. The Eurobond is Rotich. He should tell us this money came, it came on this day, I gave it this one, this portion here, this money came, I gave them, then he publishes, then he buys 2 pages, 2 full pages of standard newspaper, puts it there, then he says Kenyans now debate. Then but again they will pay answers, mixing more, are there more questions? I am now asking him as my brother, do that. So you're
in agreement with the opposition that there needs to be clarity on this issue?
Yes, yes. The opaqueness is creating more questions than answers.
Okay. Now, what do you say would be the next step forward for us as Kenyans, especially regarding the Eurobond, given that we still don't have all the facts?
Okay. One, there were very many mistakes that were made right from the beginning. The president came forward to the country and told the country that we need to take this loan from the European markets called the Eurobond. And this loan is going to be $2 billion worth, yeah? Which is about 200 billion Kenya shillings, which is a huge fraction of what we spend as a budget in this country every year. And we as the opposition went to him and told him, look, within the first 2 years of the presidency, you have tripled the debt that Kenyans have to pay, which is why we are seeing an increase in taxes on common commodities such as sugar.
There's no increase on tax on sugar.
There is an, oh, you know about sugar.
Yeah, I know that.
There's an increase on these taxes on basic commodities, what people spend to run a basic household. Unga, sugar, all these things, as much as you may deny, even milk. And what we as an opposition put forward is that we don't need to go to this foreign country because we don't see what the need for this money is. Why don't we seal the loopholes through which we are losing public money, all these scandals, and we'll have more than enough to manage things. He overrode us and chose to go ahead with the project. About $600 million of that $2 billion was to go towards paying the syndicated loan that was maturing that year. And the rest was supposedly for infrastructure projects, which is what the Treasury is allowed to borrow for. However, when put to task, Mr. Rotich published a very short and arbitrary list of allocations of finances to the various ministries, including the Ministry of Devolution and Planning of about 44 billion shillings. And one was asking, what infrastructure projects did the Ministry of Devolution and Planning undertake worth 44 billion shillings? Are those the toilets in Kibera that they were telling us about? We'd love to see. You'd see money going to ministries that don't undertake any infrastructure responsibilities whatsoever. Oversight ministries, planning ministries. So Kenyans are asking, why were these ministries being allocated this money? And then yet another question arises. The Public Finance Management Act 2012 is very clear that any money going into national coffers must go through the consolidated fund. It is a law. And this is so that there can be transparency and monitoring of all sorts of expenditure that the Treasury incurs.
Okay.
However, this Eurobond money did not go into the consolidated fund. They got foreign experts, legal companies, and diverted this money to an offshore account that has 2 high-ranking officials from Treasury as signatories. Can they explain to us why that money was taken to an offshore private account before being brought to Kenya? And then can they also explain why 35 billion Kenya shillings were withdrawn from that account the Monday, even before that syndicated loan was paid on Wednesday? Where did this money go? And then when we put these questions, Mr. Rotich tells the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, come to my office, as though he is asking on his own behalf. He's asking on the behalf of Kenyans. And these people don't seem to understand what public office is, that you're accountable to those who put you in office. Okay. You cannot now summon individuals to your office as though you're doing us a favor. You should publish those things in the paper.
All right, I think we're in agreement that there are vague questions that need to be answered, and of course we'll be putting those questions, the hard questions, to those concerned. But let's look at something else. There was also an expose, I think it was on Friday or Saturday, regarding members of parliament making false claims, and these are the people who the Kenyans have put in place as the oversight committee, as it were, to oversight even the executive. Ambrose, are we expecting too much from the executive executive to deal with corruption when the very people who are given oversight are themselves being caught with their pants down?
Correct. Just let me remind my friend, there has not been any increase on sugar, any increase on tax on sugar or unga. So that level of propaganda, let God leave it in the boardroom. All these other elaborate stories, the way it's like you were there when money was being in this and that. I know the opaqueness, but when people listen to you, they think you are chief accountant of the Eurobond disbursement fund. Please. The leaders we get reflect who we are
as a society.
As a society. I have said history will judge the MPs of this republic harshly, because Kenya is the only country where if you have been poor all along and your practice, professional practice has failed, and you had all sorts of funny jobs or no jobs at all, and you are on border, the way I was on border this morning, but that is the only thing you own, then you fight very hard to be an MCA or an MP. Then immediately you get into a V8 Prado, Land Cruiser, a driver, sauna, steam, good food, which is they have gone to study in Hong Kong, wherever. Your life just changes suddenly. Why? Because that is the only place where you earn a salary and you earn allowances. Where you come from earning a salary of 10,000 or 15,000 to $1 million plus. These leaders, we get them because we are like that. We are corrupt. We pay. They pay us. I have campaigned. I have ran for elections. I know if you don't have money, they say, "Hey, weather is very good," but his hands are dry, you know. So we can't elect him. So when you go in there, you must pour money, and when you pour money, you just rise to prominence. We saw General Sonko coming here, and we have so many children have been named Sonko. So him now is Sonko Wamasonko. Why? Money. Money how? You give to people. It is not about what you have done and what you are going to do. So the leaders we have, the MPs we have, are as a result of the society, and they cannot do oversight. They need themselves, they need the grace of God to oversight them. But since God is very busy, they are stealing from Kenya. They are stealing fast before they watch. So even if whether was to steal Sony Sugar, all I need to do is not to steal alone. So when they call me for oversight, I carry bags. Okay? I carry bags of money, and it will be okay. And we have seen it. We saw Golden Bag be cleared by parliamentarians. No. They said parties should be added more money.
No, are we expecting too much of the executive to deal with corruption when it seems to literally run in our blood system, given that those people we've given oversight for us now are also caught up in the same?
Let me first respond to the assertion by my senior brother here, when he said that when I speak about the Eurobond, I sound as though I'm the chief accountant of Eurobond. You know, that is typical of the Jubilee administration, that whenever one asks questions that one is entitled to ask, they respond by attacking you, your personality. When we ask questions about Madam Anne Waiguru, the former CS for Devolution and Planning, we were castigated as being against strong women, and we were vindicated in time. And now when we ask questions about Eurobond, we are being called chief accountants of Eurobond, and we shall be vindicated in time. Kenyans will know, and will see that there is difference like night and day between CORD and Jubilee. Now, about this issue of the executive leading on corruption, Weda and I come from the same place that he contested the MP seat and lost. And there's a reason why he lost, and it's not because his hands are dry. It's because of espousing the policies that he's doing here today. And there's a statement, there's a proverb that comes from that place that says, a fish rots from the head. Yeah? When the executive, which encompasses the chief executive officer of the Republic of Kenya, conducts himself in a manner that leaves questions, more questions than answers, then it can only be expected that Kenyans and those occupying other offices will begin to feel as though they can also conduct themselves in such a manner. However, if the president was transparent, was accountable, held his officers accountable for their deeds and misdeeds, then you'd see the same follow-through. However, I must agree with my brother here that the expose revealed the soft underbelly in terms of attitudes towards corruption that we have in the legislature. And I was nothing short of disappointed to hear that there were MPs who are making false mileage claims, and there are even some MPs who have since left office and are still drawing salaries. That cannot be fair. We need to see prosecutions, we need to see convictions, and we need to see jail terms.
Okay, so are you saying that then the executive has to champion that particular side of it to ensure that corruption is dealt with, and we are seeing...
Of course, the executive is the one that has created the prevailing environment where 791 million shillings can go missing from the Ministry of Devolution and Planning. And we see legislators rallied around to prevent an impeachment motion. We'd see the head of state come out to defend without asking questions. We'd see the Jubilee PR machine, including my brother Weda, come out and turn out for them. However, if the president was the first to ask these questions as to where has that 791 million shillings gone,
would see results. Ambrose Weda, closing comments as we finish. Time is against us.
Now, let me tell you,
very briefly.
It is not in doubt that Eurobond, there are questions that Rotich needs to tell us. Tell Kenyans. If it's genuine, they say, oh, these are like this, and they take 2 pages. We have allowed them 2 pages in the standard newspapers, but there are questions which need to be answered. With regard to what the MPs are doing, the MPs have power even over the president. Now, when they themselves, they're the ones who disbanded EACC recently, but all we attributed to the president. The fight against corruption is not a fight, but the mental shift from receiving and stealing to giving out should be a national and international issue. It should not be something for court to use to try to get to power. Corruption is all around. If we were to say who is the first, we can't throw the first stone. People will be talking about many things. People will be talking about the cigarettes and
Thank you, gentlemen.
So
we'll have to wrap it up right there because of time. That's Ambrose Weda, who's a lawyer, and Noah Kala, Secretary for Science and Technology and Innovation in ODM Party. And some of your participation via Twitter, I really don't have time. Time is really against us. But let me just read 1 or 2. How can you compare President who has been in power for 3 years and another who has been in power for 3 months? Again, it's not comparing the personalities, but is there something that we can learn from Magufuli? And somebody here says, Weda, be careful on what you say about Magufuli. It may come to haunt you sometime. Noah, it is not fair to take President Magufuli and compare him with Kenyatta, because we are yet to see whether that which he's doing will yield results. More responses coming through. Thank you very much for your participation, but because of time, we have to wind it up right there. That's the end of Morning Express, but do stay with us. We've got News Hour coming in just a bit.